Evolution Through Consciousness presents author Roman Harambura as Kuntarkis, who was interviewed by me, Michael Yon, on his latest books called The Dream Assassin Volume 1, The Dream Assassin Volume 2, Entrapment, The Pathway to Freedom, Volume 1, The Book of Knowledge I Am Alien, Volume 1 and 2, Entanglement, The Long Journey Home, Volume 2, The World Conspiracy, Volume 1. Kuntarkis, would you express to us the quest for imagination?
Absolutely, Michael. To believe in imagination is the first step to self-awareness and conscious growth. If you, the human individual, practice any form of meditation, you are using your imagination. And through imagination, you can manifest any reality that you can visualize. This is using the power of thought through your mind being pure living energy. Like saying, as I sit and ponder, I allow images to be created in my mind, for my mind is my whole being. I will, through my thoughts, create images of how I want my life to be, and I will practice this daily, even for a few moments. I truly believe in myself, that I am much more than just this human body. I am living consciousness, expressing through a physical self. Yet, I am so much more. It's my journey to discover the unknown essence of who I am. I am that I am, infinite in all that is. I am light, by Kuntarkis.
Fantastic. And now, Kuntarkis, would you express to us the table of contents?
Yes. Okay, the first thing is a brief introduction, and then followed by Book 1, The Dream Assassin Volume 1, Part 1 to Part 10. Then we have Book 2, The Dream Assassin Volume 2. Then we have Book 3, Entrapment, The Pathway to Freedom, Volume 1. We go into Book 4, The Book of Knowledge, I Am Alien, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Then we have Entanglement, The Long Journey Home, Volume 2. Then we have The World Conspiracy, Volume 1. And at the end, there's a resume for Roman as Kuntarkis. Now, with this brief introduction, I might as well read that. It's only brief. The main purpose of this book is to inform traditional publishers as well as literary agents to what my 7 books are about. The interviews on my books have been created for the podcast that belong to Michael Yon and Roman Harambura as Kuntarkis. The one who is the interviewer as well as the editor is Michael Yon. The purpose of our podcast is to also inform the people who listen to all the episodes. At this time, there are 183 different topics. This book also was created by the author Roman Harambura as Kuntarkis, explaining all about his 7 books. The interviews are all about questions and answers, as well as some deep information on them. I know some readers particularly like fiction, and others like non-fiction, and there are those who read both. Because books have to be classed into a particular category, 4 of my books are based on all the seminar, workshops, and lectures I presented over a 35-year period. Would call those, say for instance, 4 non-fiction books, being Entrapment, The Pathway to Freedom, Volume 1, Entanglement, The Long Journey Home, Volume 2, The Book of Knowledge I Am Alien, Volume 1 and 2, which are all based on self-help, the inner knowledge of spirituality, even a deeper form of inner awareness, plus so much more beyond this third-dimensional realm of physical matter. The other 3 books, being based on fiction with a strong touch of reality, is fair enough, but I personally would call them also non-fiction. In our current level of thinking and understanding, it would make it quite hard to fully understand the difference in being fiction or non-fiction to what actual reality truly is. An example? We in this current reality of being physical is simply conditioning. There are 3 levels to that conditioning. 1, being the transfer of genetics from both parents, that is male and female. That is what it takes to make a female pregnant. And then after 9 months, a baby is born. 2, it is self-created conditioning, being the baby growing up into an adult through all those experiences they have had, be it negative or positive. 3, governments, schools, society, and so many more, which become one of the self-created belief systems of self-limitations.
Hello and welcome. My name is Michael Yon, and I'm so excited to present to you the first of many interviews with author and presenter Roman Harambura as Kuntarkis. This interview is on Roman as Kuntarkis' latest book, The Dream Assassin Volume 1. There's lots of magic with lots of action, there's good characters and suspense. It flows for easy reading so the reader can become a part of the book, and to me it's very unique in its storytelling and how it is written, especially from the writer's deep imagination. So welcome, Roman, as Kuntarkis, to this interview on your latest book, The Dream Assassin Volume 1. I have to ask you, why the Volume 1?
Well, Michael, that's a really interesting question because I was going to write only one volume and call it The Black Assassin. As I was writing, I suddenly realized I was about 3/4 of the way through. And because of my dream experiences, I had many other stories. So I completed the book, and there was volume 1. And I started even volume 2. And at this present moment, I'm 50% the way through. And it's also possible to write volume 3 sometime in the distant future.
Oh, Volume 3 as well. You must be having many dreams on different stories.
Yes, what I have discovered over many years of my own personal training, all through my inner imagination, we each have one of the greatest gifts, and that is imagination. It's like saying, what you think through your imagination, you can create it into your physical reality, as long as you are 100% positive in your thinking.
So there are separate stories in Volume 1 as well as Volume 2.
That is correct.
That's great. I like a book to have different stories within it. That's cool.
What I love about writing, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, is using one's imagination, especially in creating a book or even books.
My next question, did you create your own front and back cover for The Dream Assassin Volume 1?
I did partly, but my wife Misha actually found the front cover and we just added the heading and all that type of thing. She also helped with the back cover layout from the information I gave her.
Looking at the symbol on the back cover, to me it's like yin and yang of blue and yellow.
Yes, it's called the fire essence of the balance in life. There are those who call it the spirit or soul connection of one's divinity coming together. And that's why my wife, Misha, and me have come together as one, yet separate in our own living consciousness, being manifested from living energy. I thought the best thing is to have a picture of us together, with that as the yin and yang.
I noticed how you wrote the book. You actually added not just the storyline, but the entire dialogue for all your characters. Why is that?
Well, when I first started, I said to myself, how am I going to write this book? I could write it as a story, like most novels, or I could put a lot more description into it, which involved the reader, or I could write it as a film script. So when it actually goes to a publishing company, especially a traditional publishing company, they may look at it and say, this book will become a film. So I could call it, yes, book to film. And that's the reason why I wrote the dialogue all in bold. So when a person reads it, it also makes it easier. And if they want to miss, say, some of the actual description or the storyline and just get more involved in the dialogue, which allows them to become a part of the characters. What's interesting, I have had several people send me emails and through conversations about the Dream Assassin Volume 1 that they really enjoyed not just the storyline as well as the description, but the dialogue. Some of them told me they became specific characters like Frank Hartley or even Mystical Man, who's the main character, and played out the part, or even had crazy dreams that they were acting out certain parts. It was just amazing to me. Sounds a little silly, yet at the same time, this is what some people really want in their life. So that's one of the main reasons why I wrote The Dream Assassin Volume 1, and at the same time having it ready for adaptation. And you'll notice there's lots of italics as well as putting certain little comments on an angle. And the reason I did that is so when the person reads it, they see it again somewhere throughout the book and it makes them think. Even though the book is classed as fiction, yet with a very strong touch of reality. One of the things about that book, it's not just a novel. In truth, it is actually a teaching book because the main character is Mystical Man, who is magical in all things beyond any form of limitation, who is also presenting lots of knowledge. And that's why I created it in that format.
That's really cool. Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. When I read the book, I was impressed with its layout. So, to my next question, reading through the book chapter by chapter, you wrote several different storylines. Was there a purpose in doing that?
Absolutely. Lots of people have told me in the past, in fact, quite a lot of people, they get quite bored reading an entire book based on one story. And I gave that a lot of deep thought. And because the entire book is based on my dream experiences over a lengthy period of time, as well as The Dream Assassin Volume 1 being also a magical book. And the last thing you wanted to do is continue one story right throughout the entire book, especially being 700 pages. So I ended up doing 7 different stories. And from what people say were telling me, it makes it more intriguing for the reader. They might read 105 pages on one story or more, and each of the 7 stories can be completely different in circumstances. It may be full of action, drama, even dramatic suspense, or bring together one of the most amazing magical shows that has ever been seen on this planet Earth.
Sounds fantastically great. And yes, it's something that happens in movies, and the cutting to a crime is really good. It can help keep a person intrigued to a book or even the movie.
Absolutely, Michael.
Yeah, I like it. And you're right, it is filled with suspense and action. Also, my next question, you talk a lot about the word imagination right throughout your book. Can you explain a little about how you created The Dream Assassin Volume 1? For example, where did you get the idea in the first place?
Well, a lot of people are going to find this a little hard to fully comprehend or even believe. Some may turn around and say, yes, I do fully understand that. So, this is how it was. I was in the middle of writing my third book called Entanglement, The Long Journey Home. Well, now it's called Volume 2. About halfway through, I was having those dream experiences when I went to bed, and they became really intense. Suddenly, I was dreaming every night, and it's like I went to sleep and dreamed the entire night until I woke up thinking only about that one character that was called Mystical Man. But the strange part was, in my dreams, I was Mystical Man, creating those tremendous magical shows on massive stages, strange situations, even making energy balls, walking through walls, running through walls, flying so fast, so high. Most of all, saving people when I was doing these magical shows. Each morning, as I woke, I would say to myself, why would I be dreaming these dreams night after night? More interestingly, I remembered everything from all those dreams. I only had to think of a particular dream, and it came to me in color visions with all the dialogue. And this went on for several weeks. One of the mornings on my awakening, I said to my wife, Misha, I'm going to stop writing my new book, Entanglement, The Long Journey Home. These dreams that I have been having is all about a character called Mystical Man. Everything is so vivid. So I have decided to create my first fiction book with full dialogue on a character from my dream time called Mystical Man, as well as many other characters. Misha gave me that look, asking me, who is he? I replied to her, saying he is magical. I have been having lots of continuous dreams about him. So that's where the idea comes from. And it's been growing more and more. The thing is, Michael, my daughter was only saying to me the other day that she had just completed reading the whole book. And her words were, my God, Dad, the magic is just unbelievable. I love all the stories. I could feel the people who would be playing all those parts.
It's good to get feedback from people, and you're putting things into the magic that most people would never see elsewhere. I bet you had never in your wildest imagination thought that you would write a fictional book.
Absolutely not. Yet here I am with my first fiction book with a very strong touch of reality. You know what's really interesting, Michael? A long, long time ago, well, let's say this. When I entered this body of mine as a walk-in back in 1969 on the 29th of August at 11:11 p.m., from that moment on, I became a teacher of knowledge that is so far from this third dimensional realm we as humanity exist within. I began teaching a variety of different courses, only small ones, but all over the place. Everything in my life began to change in so many ways, especially in how I saw the world. And at that point, I started to use my greatest gift, imagination. As you know, imagination is everything, and everything is imagination. It is one of our greatest gifts. Every artist in all fields on this planet use their imagination. In fact, every engineer, every architect, every scientist, anyone who designs clothes, cars, songwriters, book writers, people who create movies. In fact, everything in some way comes from imagination. Sadly, Michael, not many people fully understand the true meaning of the word imagination. When you put thought consciousness and connect to your mind, being pure living energy through your imagination, then by truly believing, you can not only write books, but you are then capable of anything. It's like saying, when you work with or in that positive energy, everything becomes possible, especially with self-creativeness. There's no logic within one's mind, none whatsoever, just pure creativeness. And that's where we should all be in our own personal self-awareness, creating a fantastic, positive world.
I agree with that one. Yeah. I heard this from you before, but for the listeners as well as the readers, I don't think they know what the opposite to logic truly is.
Well, the word logic is an important part of humanity's growth, but there's a point in life where logic must become only 30% of our daily human existence and allow 70% to be our greatest gift, imagination. It's like saying, when you put logic with imagination, you begin to change your whole human reality, your whole thinking. Human logic is run by human ego of self-conditioning, as it will keep you completely limited. Logic by itself will hold back an individual from growing not only consciously, but also spiritually. And being spiritual is not religion in any form, as this is what logic stops an individual from discovering. Let's say example one, you will never fully understand what thought consciousness is about. Two, you will never fully understand what karma and reincarnation is about. Three, you'll never fully understand that there are trillions of universes, billions of planets, and millions of different forms of species. Number four, you may never gain a deeper understanding that there are spirit worlds being fourth dimensional, nor the astral vibration that exists within all those trillions of universes. Five, you may never fully understand that there are, to my present understanding, 17 multidimensional worlds that exist within planet Earth's vibrational reality. That's one of the biggest reasons I created the Dream Assassin Volume 1, which in reality is full of knowledge that I have expressed above. Look at it this way. When we each are completely logical in our thinking, it can be quite difficult to accept certain forms of knowledge to be understood. We each are highly conditioned from past lives to this present life, and fears play a big part in our self-created negative conditioning. And that's being totally honest from my heart. It is the biggest major issue in going forward. The human brain only holds past memories of our experiences and can only give us the past. It draws on the past to give us an answer. So, to cut it short, thinking in human logic is the past as well.
Like if you think with your brain, that thinking is an action of past logic.
Absolutely, Michael. And the most interesting thing, when we each learn to become feeling beings of one's heart, meaning no longer caught up in our own self-created negative emotions, we can begin to change many aspects of our thinking, our life's patterns, because we put thought consciousness into our life's reality and being the evolutional connection to our heart. And by connecting to our heart chakra, we each create complete balance. The old saying, without heart, there is no balance, only logical thinking. And without unconditional love of heart, there is absolutely nothing.
Wow, Kuntarkis, that says it all. This concludes part 1 of an interview with Roman Harambura as Kuntarkis on his book, The Dream Assassin, Volume 1. For more on Roman as Kuntarkis, please visit his website, etcconsciousness.com. My name is Michael Yon. Thank you for either listening to the podcast episodes or reading his latest book, The Dream Assassin, Volume 1.